Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Dustin Stoltzfus versus Brunno Ferreira. My prediction for the fight is Brunno Ferreira wins by knockout, and it happens in round one. But the basis for that pick is really Brunno Ferreira's offense, as opposed to the weaknesses of Dustin Stoltzfus. Because Stoltzfus has only been TKO'd just once. It was in the UFC last year, whenever it was, with a front kick from Abasupi and Magomedov, and he got him out of there in seconds. And as bad as that loss looked, it is the only time Stoltzfus has been finished like that. He's got other losses via submission that we've seen, but those are to exceptional fighters. And they were both in round three, which Brunno Ferreira has never seen a round three. But if he did, I doubt he would have the submission prowess of Gerald Mearshart and Rodolfo Vieira. But still, one knockout loss is enough, I guess, for me to pick Brunno Ferreira, because Brunno Ferreira, he's a big, strong athlete with a lot of power. He's going to be a difficult guy to wrangle and control, which is what Stoltzfus is going to be looking to do. Not that Stoltzfus can't handle himself on the feet, but he's going to be outgunned, especially early on. As for Stoltzfus's path to victory, it is slowing this fight down and out-grappling Brunno Ferreira. Pretty much trying to duplicate his performance against Punahale Soriano. That's where Stoltzfus was able to tame a more dangerous striker and a more athletic striker in Punahale. And he slowed him down and then slowed him down to the point where he could hit some takedowns and finally got a finish. So, I'll look for the props to play both sides because I do think Dustin Stoltzfus, not that he's going to get a finish later, but if he does win, it is by late finish or decision. It's tough to say what a loss for Brunno Ferreira would look like because he's only got one, and it's where he was knocked out by Nursultan Ruzaboyev. That is not a path to victory for Dustin Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus has two TKOs technically as far as victories go. One of them's an injury over Joe Pyfer on the Contender Series, where he was defending a takedown and he got taken down, posted his arm and broke it like Shogun Hua. And the other one was actually a clean knockout where he knocked this guy out. It was a sloppy affair, but whatever the guy's name is, he was halfway on the floor. Like he fell on the floor or whatever and went to get up. And Dustin clipped him with a big right hand and got him out of there. And that was impressive, but that's not enough to convince me that he can be the second guy to knock out Brunno Ferreira. I think Bruno's chin would have to have fallen off a cliff for that to happen, because Dustin Stoltzfus, he's not exactly Mr. Knockout. But even though that's the one loss for Brunno Ferreira, I do think Dustin Stoltzfus especially is more likely to beat him with grappling. Of course, I think if he's winning, it's where he's out grappling Brunno in the second half of the fight. Maybe gets the decision. But again, I'm going with Brunno. I don't think Brunno is going to go through Dustin on the ground like he has some fighters. I think he's going to be trying to keep this on the feet. And I think he's going to be really difficult to handle early, even more so than Punahale Soriano, who had a great first half of round one against Dustin Stoltzfus. But Brunno Ferreira, he's big, strong, agile, and powerful. And that is the basis for the pick. So right now, I haven't bet on Brunno Ferreira. I've thrown a little bit of money on the under 1.5 rounds at minus 140. I do consider that primarily a bet on Brunno Ferreira, but there's a chance that his chin is completely gone, and that might work out for Stoltzfus as well. Or maybe Stoltzfus gets a submission. I don't fucking know. But the point is, of everything staring at me right now, which is just the money line and the over-under, I threw a very small bet on the under at minus 140. And by the way, it's under 1.5 rounds, which I typically don't love unless it's CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. Then I'll put my fucking life savings on it like I did last time at fucking whatever, minus 300. But yeah, the props are what I'll wait for because Brunno Ferreira, He is a seek and destroy fighter. He's got 11 wins and 11 finishes. Those are some traits. So you can narrow down his money line there, shave it down a little bit, maybe with some props. And for Dustin Stoltzfus, while I'd say submission is definitely, I can't say submission or decision, but I'd say grappling and in the second half of the fight is how he wins. Maybe a decision, maybe a late finish. So I'll see if there's anything worth playing there. But the pick is Brunno Ferreira with his danger and his athletic advantage and power advantage and everything going when he's firing on all cylinders in round one. He goes through Dustin Stoltzfus with power. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.